that's where the healing comes, because that's where the knowing comes, and that's where the guidance comes from. But we have to be able to access that, and it's the breath, I think, is the number one,
Yep.
for me, most powerful modality for being able to tap into like the subconscious and just deeper into your body for that healing. Yeah.
Breath is life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breath is life.
And we can manipulate it, right? We can slow our breathing down, we can speed it up, and all of these various ways of using the breath to literally impact our nervous system and regulate our nervous system, and yeah, just tap in deeper.
Hi, this is Reet from REIGNITE with REET podcast. I'm sitting here with Sage King, a breathwork facilitator, a fiber artist. Is that what you call it? Fiber artist?
Yeah.
A fiber artist, and a mother, and a business entrepreneur, yoga instructor, and all the things. We're going to sit and have a great conversation about life, motherhood, how she got to where she is, and how she's following her calling and sitting in the discomfort and doing it anyways. Hi, Sage.
Hi, Reet. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
so
excited for you to have this podcast, and I'm just really honored to be on it, so thank you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot because you were one of the first people I kind of reached out to when I arrived on this island of Oahu. Moving from Canada to here, I had actually found you through another woman, and Fazia, but you called to me. I just listened to this calling in my heart, and I'd never done breath work other than one time at a retreat, but I didn't know what it was about. I just felt the need and needed it in my life. You were offering a 4-week program virtually, and I was like, let's go. Okay, I'm doing it. I have no idea what's going to come of it. Mm-hmm. And it really was the beginning of my breathwork journey, peeling away the layers. Can you share how you started it, where what was your background, and how you got there?
Sure. So breathwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it really started when my father passed away about 4 years ago, this April. And because I've always been somebody who heals a lot through being in my body, so yoga has been a big part of my practice for 20 plus years. I was back in therapy at the time when my dad passed away to just work through the grief and process it all. And I just kept feeling this calling to like come back to my body, but I didn't know what that meant. And so I was like, do I dive deeper into my yoga practice? Do I find some other somatic healing? I wasn't really sure at that point. And for, the universe provides when it needs to. And so breathwork just kept coming into my life in various ways. And I had been familiar with breathwork in terms of, yoga breathing and pranayama in my yoga classes, but I didn't know there was another level of breathwork journeys, I will call them. And I'd listened to a podcast, and there was a woman on there who was leading like a mini breathwork session. And so after that, I was like, I'm just going to see what all this is about. And I did a 25-minute session on an app at my house, and I had an extremely huge emotional experience, and I came out of that session just in a very deep meditative place, and something was just really opened up for me. And I knew this was what I had been asking for. And so I really dove deep into my own breathwork practice. I found people to do longer journeys with. And then within a month, maybe, I started looking into certification programs because I felt really this deep calling that this is something I was supposed to be leading people through, because it had been so impactful for me in such a short amount of time. And so I spoke to some programs, and the one I really wanted, when I talked to one of the women, she was like, okay, great. Well, it starts on Thursday. And this was like a Sunday or something. And I was not planning on starting right away, but I said yes because it felt right. I didn't know where it was going to take me. And I've been facilitating ever since. So that's, but it was really that kind of that shifting period through the grieving of my father that brought me back to my body and brought me back to a really deep healing journey that continues on today.
Isn't it amazing when we actually allow our body and that healing to occur? We kind of fall into our calling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. It comes from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeling something you're doing for yourself, and then you realize there's a bigger purpose for this. It's serving a bigger purpose for you, but you're the vessel it has to come out of. Like, you have to breed and birth this whole creation so it can be like bigger than all of us.
Yes. And again, like, there was no knowing where this was going to go. I still don't know where my next step in the journeys are going necessarily, but it is my calling. I feel very deeply centered in that, that this is exactly what I should be doing. And it's impacting not only myself, but so many other people in my life. And it's been just, an honor. So.
Oh, it's impacted me like huge. And I can truly say that because coming to an island with nobody, you don't know anyone, and you're coming from also sitting in some grief. Coming to you, like, allowed that. You're as a facilitator, you hold space, and you guide us through a journey. And each one of us is having our very own different journey. Because of those 4 sessions, each session is very different.
Yes.
Right? Can you speak on that a little bit? Where can breath work go?
It can go everywhere. And I always say, if you've experienced breath work before, the next time you go on another breath work journey, you're going to have expectations around it. And I can guarantee you it's going to be different. Yeah. Because I truly believe that when you're really tapping into source through the breath, that, you're receiving what's meant for you in that exact moment in time. And for that, it's different every time. Right? Sometimes it can be a very physical practice. Sometimes it can be very emotional. Sometimes it can feel very altered state, very divine, very connected. So it's just magical, and it's different every time.
Yeah, I can vouch for that because it's been different every time. Like, I've had huge releases of tears and grief and pain. I've had joy, a little bit more bliss, and its lightness and colors. Yeah. I've had where I feel like I just needed rest. Yeah. And my body just, like, I wasn't sleeping, but I felt deeply rested. I know I didn't go anywhere other than I went somewhere, but it gave me the rest that my mind wasn't giving me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is so good. Oh, man. I'm so excited to continue exploring. What about you? Like, where would this take you? Is there more certifications you can do?
So I'm actually in another certification right now. It's all about trauma healing. It is also breathwork related, but it's just adding some new layers to the work that I've been doing, which I'm really excited about. But primarily right now, it's my group sessions and my one-on-ones, but really beginning to focus more on my kind of longer term virtual sessions, larger events, things like that. So that's where I see myself headed, although I'm open to, wherever the journey takes me.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You have to plant the seeds and then have trust. Because it's really ultimately not up to us.
No.
As much as we think it is, the people that we draw into our life, the people that it's for everybody. Breathwork is for everybody.
Yes. 100%.
It's not for just the ones on this deep journey of healing. It's not just for the ones that feel broken. That's how I've seen it when I've come into rooms and just felt held. I saw, partners. I saw women of all ages. So we can't be all in the same phase of our life. We're not.
No.
So whether you're, dealing with anxiety or depression, postpartum, pain in your body, I think it can cover, it's like blankets over so many areas of our life.
Absolutely. And ultimately, it's just a connection to ourselves. And when we can connect in that way really deeply, that's where the healing comes, because that's where the knowing comes, and that's where the guidance comes from. But we have to be able to access that. And it's the breath, I think, is the number one, for me, most powerful modality for being able to tap into the subconscious and just deeper into your body for that healing. Yeah.
Breath is life.
Yeah.
Breath is life.
And we can manipulate it, right? So we can use the breath to we can slow our breathing down, we can speed it up, and all of these various ways of using the breath to literally impact our nervous system and regulate our nervous system, and just tap in deeper.
So yes, elaborate on that a little bit more. When you say you can slow your breath down or speed it up, in what situations?
I never want to say there's like specific breath techniques for very specific outcomes, because I think that just keeps things too much in a box. And I think everybody is unique, and that one breath pattern might be really great for me to slow down my anxiety and calm me down, where someone else, it might just like go in a different direction. So I think it's important to be playing with the different techniques. But of course, we know that when we can slow our breath down and we draw it in through the nose, we can have long exhales, that immediately begins to kick in our rest, restore, digest, right, parasympathetic nervous system. So when we activate it, like in a breathwork journey purposefully, we're using an activating breath. We're drawing in through our mouth, and we're kind of kicking up our nervous system a little bit on purpose in a very safe way to sort of build the stress resiliency and to allow the energy to kind of be built and shift through so that we can have those emotional releases. So sort of depending on what your goal is and whatever situation that you're feeling throughout the day, different breath patterns can be, used in different ways.
Something that I've been curious about is, in these rooms, you have a lot of energy. People coming from all areas and going through different situations. How do you hold space for that, for yourself? Like, how do you...
Great question.
I've been curious about this quite a bit.
That was actually a lot of my training, was being able to connect to my central channel so that I can come in and hold the space of being very grounded, like being very deeply into the earth, grounded into my own central channel, so that I'm not absorbing other people's energies, and so that I'm really holding the space, I'm holding the energetic space of keeping people grounded so that they're not just flying out all over the place. And you can really feel that in a group setting. So it's as much of a practice for everybody that's in the room doing the breath work as it is for me for really staying in my center. Because if I'm out of my center, then the whole space will be out of center, right? Yeah, so it's a practice. It's a practice.
How do you fill your cup?
Breath work.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And I would say nature. Nature is like one of the number one things that really connects me and grounds me back down. Of course, being with my family, traveling, moving my body, journaling, so many different ways. But yeah.
And do you do breath work every day?
I do.
Like short bursts, or what does it look like?
It really looks different every day depending on my morning. I'm not somebody who sticks to a very specific morning routine because that doesn't fit in with my life.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of 2, and I never know if the kids are going to wake up early or we have to be to school early or whatever it is. So, but inevitably I will build breath in the morning in some fashion, whether it's 3 minutes or I get 20 minutes, no matter what, it's somewhere in my morning. Because even if it's in bed, right? If I know I hear the kids moving, I'll sit up in bed and I'll literally just take like 2 minutes to breathe before I step out, because it sets the tone for the rest of my day, and the intention that I can bring in for the rest of the day, or the visualizing of the rest of my day that I can do after I breathe, is really necessary for me. And I do it throughout the day too.
Right. In that setting, you wouldn't be necessarily doing an activated breath. You would be, what kind of breath?
Sometimes in the morning I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think the activating breath for me is usually, not always, but I'd say like 70% of the time that's what I use, because I find that breath in just 3 minutes allows me to feel more open, allows me to just feel a little bit more energized, feel more connected, and then that's when I can kind of draw in the intention of where I'm going with my day. But throughout the day, if I'm sitting with my children and they are fighting, or there's just like some big emotions, that's when I just close my eyes in front of them, take deep breaths, invite them to do the same, even though oftentimes they won't, but they see me, and it helps me regulate my system, which I really believe then helps regulate theirs. So that's how I sort of intertwine it through, the rest of my day as well. Different ways.
do your kids, have you gotten them to do a little exercise? Or I know they don't always listen to us.
Yeah, no. So they actually do it in school every day, and they'll do it in school. And sometimes I will, like I said, invite them in to do breathing with me, but a lot of times they're just like, no, Mom. But they see me, and I think all I can do is be a role model. And I think the older that they get, you know, they're 5 and 8 right now, that maybe they'll understand a little more, or it'll kind of, you know, ripple into their day.
You're planting the seeds.
Exactly. It's just planting the seeds. And I think, you know, if they see me doing it, then I hope that they'll use it. And the older they get, the more I can encourage them to do it with me. At times, my daughter will come sit with me on my lap and we'll breathe together. But, you know, a lot of times they're just like, no, Mom.
Oh, yeah. No, our kids' favorite thing is no, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
So for a mom, if she is, and if she has a moment and she's holding her child, what's a breath that she can do?
Just really deep inhale in through the nose and a slow exhale through the mouth is one of the most simple and I feel like natural, intuitive breaths that we can do. Take 5 of them and you'll be surprised at just how more calm you feel.
It's so funny when you just did that, the cue. It gave me permission, and I just
yeah.
I was able to. We kind of need to be told sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? We just take a minute and breathe. All of us. It's like, you know, it feels too hard to do it on our own, or it's like we don't have time. You know, is there an app or something?
I was just going to say set reminders or alarms on your phone for throughout the day. It just says breathe, and literally whatever you're doing, just pause and take 5 breaths if that's what you have time for. Take 2 if that's all you have time for, right? But it's pretty amazing.
Oh, that's an amazing
It's
suggestion.
just bringing that awareness again, and the more you do that, the more your body just kind of naturally will begin to do that throughout the day. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have a reminder for laugh.
Oh, that's so
I
good.
do. A girlfriend of mine.
Oh, I love that.
Because I found laughter allows me to breathe, allows me to have a natural release.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It literally is look in the mirror and just making a ridiculous, like, and get into your belly.
Yes.
And I've also, something I'm interested in that I'll do is laughing yoga.
I was just going to say, have you tried laughing yoga?
In Italy.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
I went to a retreat and part of one of the activities was laughing yoga, and the facilitator's like, you're a natural, you need to get certified, because I guess my laugh is pretty, like, once you let it contagious and ridiculous, that everybody else was like, how are you tapping into that? I'm just like, I don't know, there's just this inside of me wanting to get out.
Yes.
And it just was like, you said, you know, your body released that. And that's why I have a little reminder. Like, it's 3 minutes. It's like, laugh, girl, laugh.
I love that so much. I'm going to try that. Thanks for that little tip.
Because mix it up. Like you said, you don't need a routine all the time.
Yeah.
You breathwork, you're still breathing. You're having a lot of air coming in, and then you get your really stomach, like, if you can get yourself laughing silly, get your really into your belly, you'll be sore the next day with ab workout.
Yes, they're so good. So good.
I wanted to ask, I know you do some yoga and breathwork classes. And even sound you've incorporated, a sound facilitator.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, yeah, we bring in Claire, yes. She's amazing, yeah.
How does the breath and that movement, how do you...
Yeah,
I mean, they go hand in hand.
They do. I mean, I think there's a difference between using the breath throughout like a vinyasa class versus using the breath at the end of a class or at the beginning of a class.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love to weave it through more like restorative classes versus the vinyasa. So just like opening yourself up before you move and then really coming out of the class in a meditative state towards the end. So yeah, I love the combination, and sound at the end of a breathwork journey is just so powerful for integration. There's just so much you can do.
Yeah, because you leave even after that class. The work is still happening in our bodies.
Yes.
However you want to speak, downloads or healing or like shedding, and you may have a release later. Wow.
Yeah, it could be hours, it could be days, it could be weeks.
Yeah.
You never know, you know.
And you recommend journaling?
I do. I think it's really powerful for processing afterwards. But what I do in my programs, I think doing journaling before breath work has been for me the past few months like really, really impactful because I'm bringing to mind more specific intention around my breath work. So oftentimes the group sessions, although they might be themed around something and something's going to come up, you never know, right? They're kind of more open. Whereas I have found now the focused intention breath work for me has been really powerful lately for really these more tangible results in my life because I'm breathing through something very specific. So whether it's a limiting belief or it's really breathing into, the version of myself that I want to be, then that session is very focused and you can really see the results from it. So I've been playing with that a lot more lately, which has been really exciting because can't wait to incorporate that into future programs that I'm building right now.
So you recently launched a program called Remembrance.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I just love the word, and I kind of peeked into it a little bit, but share a little bit about what this program is around, what's the different...
Yeah, so it's a 4-week program, and really the idea behind it, and this just kept coming to me, this idea of remembrance, right? Because I always say, like, we're not broken, we don't need to be fixed, and we don't need to be a different person. Mm-hmm. It's just that we need to remember who we are. That's it. Like, we need to remember who is here, who has always been here, and has just had to adapt or cope or shift in ways because of things that have happened in our life, whether it's trauma or whether it's, conditioning or programming from our parents or even past lives or generations. So it's just about, again, being able to reconnect in a deeper level underneath those other layers, and there will always be layers to uncover, but it's really that deep remembrance. And so that's just the idea that I've been really feeling into lately. And so it's been beautiful to bring that in and bring people through a journey with that.
I think it's so important right now in this time and space because we get so much coming at us every single day, technology, yes. Screens, thoughts, people's opinions, people literally just zooming by in our life, and it can really bring us away from ourselves. Not to mention we are literally programmed, or can I say unprogrammed, because the program we come into this life is perfect. We come in, we have everything exactly the way it's meant to be. The universe has made exact chromosomes and the blood type.
It's a miracle.
The miracle. Like, when I think to a cellular level, I'm like, my cells are just keeping me alive right now. And then we're unprogrammed out of that. I don't know, some people say programmed or whatever word you want to use, but we're meant to fit into different boxes to make other people happy. So the fact that you can come back and remember, and it doesn't have to be lifelong, therapy, everything's good. Sometimes I know my experience, and I know people in my family, they've been going to therapy for 10 years. But you're talking about the same conversations and repeating the same stories and wanting something different to happen. It kind of feels insane to me, right? Yeah. So that is where I think your work is necessary with the therapy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful bridge with therapy too, because I was in the same boat. I've been in therapy on and off for 20 years, and it served its purpose, but there really came a point where I was like, I have talked about the same thing so many times, and nothing's shifting.
Nope.
Like, nothing's changing. And that's a beautiful approach, right? When you need it to be in your mind, because you need the mindset, you need all of the, the mind work as well. But when you can actually get into your body is so much wiser than our minds. Yeah. And when it releases these emotions, like, we don't have to know even what the emotion is. We don't have to know why we're releasing it, where it comes from. It's just, we're storing all of that in our bodies. We know the body keeps the score, right?
Yes.
Like, we know that. This is not like flu stuff. Like, this is real.
Science-based.
Yes. And so through the breath, that's where that can really be shifted. And all of that mindset work or therapy, talk therapy, all of that is still really powerful because you're now moving it from up here, your intellectual mind, and into your body. And then your body can really integrate it, and it can shift and morph and change and release as it needs to. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's the thing. When I was in therapy, I felt like I would keep repeating the same stories in my head and temporarily feel better for several hours, whatever that day. Like the thought that, oh, I'm doing something for myself. But my body didn't feel different. If anything, sometimes I would be chasing some outcome. Being like, I'm going to go to this hour-long session and I'm going to be this after. And that wouldn't happen. And I'd feel more defeated. And that was the difference. Once I started doing, this is somatic work.
Yes.
Yeah. Once I included somatic work in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, it was huge. And somatic work is yoga, breath work, a lot of different kinds of movements.
Yep.
There's you can do your research, whatever you want to pull that is for you. And I'm like a buffet type of person, like not in real life, but like for my somatic, for my somatic work, I need all the different things depending on where I'm in, what season.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
It's going to be seasonal. Absolutely.
And I needed to lean into, I was working out hard intensity. My body was screaming at me to stop.
Yes.
And to the point where I would literally cry halfway through my workout after the release because it was almost creating anger. Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Until I started listening and said, I need yin yoga in my life. And where you have facilitated breathwork and at Elevate and stuff, I leaned in, and wow, that was the first time I had done yin because I always thought yoga was hatha, vinyasa, and I love all of those things. There's a place for that, but I had so much yang energy. I'm like, as women, we've gotten so much yang that in the feminine we need yin, and I started doing yin and it just shifted. And then I had I'm doing yin, breath work, and even just nature walks, beach walks, forest walks. My nervous system just started to, and I just put my membership on hold for a little bit. It's not like you have to stop. It's not like you have to, because we're programmed to be like, as women, if you don't build muscle, if now you're losing every single day.
Right.
That was the story I started creating.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel sane every day, forget about the muscle. If your quality of your thoughts and your connection to yourself, it doesn't matter about muscle because you're going to literally create so much dis-ease in your body.
Yes. You're just fighting against it.
You're just
pushing too hard. Can we just be gentle on ourselves at this stage of life, especially?
I think that's what I love doing breathwork with you, because at the beginning, you said there's no wrong way to do it.
I really believe that. Other people might say otherwise, but I truly believe there are specific breath patterns, specific ways of breathing, but ultimately, we know ourselves, whether you realize it or not in your mind, we do. We know ourselves inside. And if you need to alter the breath in a slightly different way to feel more connected in your body, then by all means, that's where you should go with it, right? It's not about pushing the breath past your limit. It's not about keeping it going hard and fast and just so you can, reach this pinnacle or reach this point of activation. We can do that in really gentle ways as well.
You're just chasing another outcome.
Yeah.
And that's
yes. It becomes this competitive, push, where you can have a beautiful, deep, expansive, powerful experience by breathing gently and slowly for 40 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah.
And that was it. That's what I think. You can find your own facilitator, whoever speaks to you, I think, in different seasons and in different situations. I think this favorite saying of mine is, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And we'll have different teachers to lead you through different parts of your life.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you need a little push.
Yep.
Sometimes you just need space held, and sometimes you need to be pulled out of your just pulled up.
Yes. Yes.
Because you can't literally, you've fed your family, you've been a caretaker, you've been all these other roles, you know, for so long, you don't even know how to pull yourself up. I think but things I share and coach women to say is just say yes to yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We have been programmed to put everybody else first, and it's selfish if we think of ourselves for a minute. Fill our cup.
When really it's the opposite, right?
Selfless.
Yes. It ripples.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
I know I've snapped at my daughter and then regretted and guilted on the days when I'm empty, running on empty. And I've said yes to everybody else but me.
Yes. 100%. And I have found over, like, my journey at least has been, it continues to soften even more. I just, and not to say, like, I love activating breaths and I use them a lot too. But even in my yoga practice, it's like I used to, you know, it was Bikram, and then it was like Baptiste, and then it was heated vinyasa, and now it's just give me some yin and restorative breath work, give me some gentle, like, journeys, you know. It doesn't have to be pushing so hard all the time.
I love that, because it's the perfect segue to the next part I wanted to talk about, because as women, we have different seasons of our life. You know, we all do, even men. But puberty, pregnancy, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause. I found, in my experience, having gone post-menopause here, yin is what I needed. Because my hormones, like, mine in menopause, they drop. You lose, and you feel a sense of out of control a little bit. And it's really an awakening of you listening to your body.
Exactly. It always comes down to that.
It comes down to that. How does breathwork impact, like, hormonal? If maybe you don't have to speak on maybe medical wise, but like in different phases of women's lives, how do you think it can impact?
I mean, I think again, like, I'm not going to speak to like the medical or the physiological piece of it, but I think the energetic piece of it is again always going to come back to what phase and season in my life am I in right now, and so can I match that with the appropriate modality or the appropriate breath, right? Because I'm in perimenopause, so like my hormones are shifting as well, and I'm kind of up and I'm down and all these things, and sometimes there are moments when I need to like really energize and get that breath up, and there are other times that I'm like, whoa, I need the opposite. And so again, it's just coming back to listening and slowing down. Same in pregnancy, same in menopause, post-menopause. It's really just listening to your body, whatever phase it's in. Yeah.
You mentioned your kids do it at school. I'm pivoting again because I want, it's like, you know, it's an important part. Your kids go to...
They go to Waldorf.
Waldorf.
Right now. Yeah.
I love
so they
the philosophy.
they incorporate like ocean breathing, right? Or they use the 5-hand that I taught them, the starfish. So inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling up, exhaling down, which is beautiful to do with your kids because it gives them a visual and gives them 5 great breaths. Doing it at home with them again is a different story, but it's beautiful that it is being incorporated into schools all over the place, right? I have so many people actually reach out saying, do you do breath work for kids?
Yeah.
So it's becoming known. And I wish we had that as children. Maybe we'd be a little more regulated.
Yeah. If we can give them these tools, this is where I've been navigating the conversation, you know, in my daughter's school, what's future. It's important in academics, but life skill tools is emotional intelligence. Like, that's where the seeds need to be planted in kindergarten, preschool, 1, 2, 3, all the way, all the way.
All the way, yeah.
Because they're going to need them to manage the stress, to pass exams, all of these situations that are not, I don't know if this is the right word or wrong, but they're not normal. To be constantly striving, I don't believe in my ripe old age of 45, I don't believe we're meant to be always striving.
No.
We're meant to be. And nobody teaches you that. from the beginning, we are told, go. You gotta go and do this. Walk faster. I've seen parents literally, and I mean, I was there too. We're forcing our kids to walk earlier.
Yes.
Because it's going to make us proud. And then you're forcing them to make us proud. Make us proud. You have to perform to make us proud.
And be ahead of other people. And it becomes competitive. And it's like we have to be productive all the time. Yeah, all the things.
I've struggled with that this year because, you know, my daughter's having some issue with focus. And everybody's saying she's not measuring up to, she's smart enough, she's capable enough, but she's not, you know, she's distracted. What if she's just dreaming about what she really wants to be doing?
Yeah. What if the environment is just not set up in the most perfect way?
What if we are just failing our children in a way? And I think teachers do the best job they can. And I am an advocate for helping, providing them resources, getting them more skills and tools. You know, would you think the teachers could benefit from breath work?
Yes.
You know?
I was really lucky enough to, at the teachers retreat that they do in the beginning of or at the end of the summer before school starts at Waldorf, I got to go and facilitate a session for them. And that was really beautiful. And yes, it should be brought into every business, every school.
Yeah, that was
just part of what we do in our daily life.
That was running through my mind too, because having been in corporate for so long, I was like, you know, I have friends that bring different practices to the corporate world because there's some people that may not be an option to get out, or they really actually do love it, but the stress is actually killing people. Literally, young 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds are dropping from heart attacks, burnout, so much disease, and what's the word that it's created? Our body creates the autoimmune diseases, and it's on all-time high. It was never heard of before. We're so disconnected from our body, and I think the corporate mentality even it unfortunately breeds that. They don't want to know what you're feeling. They want you to produce.
Yes.
Well, what if we can bridge the gap somewhere there and say, hey, can you just measure the productivity if your employees had a little bit of filling their cup? And I think it was measured during COVID when everybody had to stop, freeze, essentially, and work from home. Productivity went up.
I know there's an irony there, and I think there's also, it's interesting because when I use breath work in a very intentional way in my daily life, my productivity is actually higher, even though I'm taking the time to be here, which is wild. So the amount of clarity I can receive, and a literal download of an entire 4-week program came through breath work. That it has to be a priority. Yeah. Because then I can be more productive in the ways that society needs me to be, or the ways that I want to be as well. Yeah. But if I'm not doing those things to take care of myself, and specifically breath work, I'm not as productive. So isn't that interesting that when we can slow down and be with ourselves, we actually in the end are more productive? There's truth to it.
Oh, it's science to it.
Yeah.
You know, if we really want to listen and want the quality of life and create this world that we want to live in, we have to make changes.
And they have to come from here.
And it has to come from here. Yeah, it can't be just like this, because this will keep us wanting and striving and doubting and fear-based and go, because I know my brain doesn't stop until I actually force myself to sit and be in my body, in my breath, just in the moment. Be present. And recently, I think even launching this podcast has, every time we stretch ourselves, we do something. I'm sure launching your program of Remembrance, new level of anxiety and stuff, and these thoughts come.
Yes.
And that's where I've been leaning in, my breath. And I'll do it walking. It doesn't always have to be this, I have to have a 45-minute session. It's drop in right now, become present. You're not in the future, you're not in the past. Drop in right now and look, get it, use your senses. Use your intuition to be, you're safe. Tell your brain you are safe. And I've had to look in the mirror and tell myself that, because
safety is huge. Yeah.
Huge.
And call me crazy, and you know, there's so many times that people are like, there's so many problems in the world and there's so much we don't have, all these things that are happening, and we can get so wrapped up in it, right? We can get so focused on it, of like the big picture, and like, what can we do to change this or that? How can we advocate? And I'm not saying those things are wrong, because we have to do those things too. But I really truly believe 100%, if we're all working on ourselves in here in really deep ways, none of that would be going on.
No.
If we could all just be here. And so I believe my purpose in life is to do the work in here, in my own self, in my own body, because there is a massive ripple effect. Massive. And yeah. And so that's like the place that I come from. And I don't know, some people may say that's not enough, but I really truly believe that if we all just put in the work first to ourselves, that the rest of the world would look completely different.
Oh my gosh, it's not enough. That is it. If everybody was able to take responsibility for themselves, and as we're into the season of our life, and not blame our parents, not blame our partners, not blame our kids, not blame all of these things that happen for us, to literally happen for us to be exactly where we are. And if you're in a place that you're not finding joy, or you're feeling in the bottom, I implore you to seek out tools. I implore you to use what's available, and it doesn't have to deal with accessibility. Your breath is within you. And it's something I tell my daughter too, because it's like real talk. Mila, wherever there's a problem, there lies the solution. So if you created it, then you can create a solution. And I tell myself that when I'm creating drama in my family, or I'm getting caught up in my daughter's, tantrum, because I'm having one of my own, my little child inside.
Exactly.
Because she's triggering me to see.
She's a reflection.
I ordered her. I ordered her from the universe and say, give me extra spicy. I love hot, spicy stuff. I wouldn't change it.
It's a projection of what you're needing to move through in your own life. And when you view the world in that way, it's wild. Because then every interaction, this is a lot of like the journey that I'm on right now, is recognizing that I have a very specific view and perspective of my life because of what I experienced in childhood or past lives or whatever it is, right? And it's like these glasses that I walk through life with. And so every interaction I have, when my husband triggers me or my kids trigger me or something happens in the world, and I'm like, it's just a reflection of what I'm still working through. And so it's just mirroring back to me, like, where is my healing? Where do I need to, where do I need to work? It's not about them. It's never about them. And when you can really understand that, your relationships shift. Like, it's been powerful in my marriage. And when I can recognize that, like, this stuff that is coming at me from him or from my kids or my mom or whatever it is, it's not about them. It's really about in here and the work that I need to do. And it's a beautiful way to like view the world, because I also feel like now I have control. I have control to shift, and I have control to change the way my life is. Truly. I
agree. It's changed my marriage too. It's funny when you have to take accountability for your own life, your own actions, and of your own triggers. It's really, that's the gift. I've learned that my triggers are the key and the door.
Yes.
To walking into myself, and the next layer that is going to appear back, bringing me back home.
Beautiful.
I just love this, because I think we've all struggled in our marriages and our parenting, and we still do. It's not something that it's like a one-time fix, and we're, woo-woo, and we're like, if you do this once, you're all done. No, it's a practice. Every single thing in life that is going to allow you to move through life and day-to-day challenges and live in a more holistic and wholesome way is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And the rituals you create in your life. Oh, I love
Yes.
yes. talking this because it reminds me why I'm here. Mm-hmm. It reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to bring awareness. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doing it because, oh, I'm holier than thou. I'm doing it because I have something to prove. I'm doing it because it changed my life.
Yeah.
It literally is changing my life. And when I feel the world is on my shoulders, I can take a minute and just that sigh right there.
Yeah.
Release right on my heart. Like it just went, it's not on your shoulders.
And I feel that.
Right?
Like you feel it, right? It's like co-regulating.
And your kids will feel it.
Yes.
My partner feels it. As
Yes.
I'm literally, it's springtime here in Hawaii and most parts of the world, on this hemisphere. I feel I'm allowing myself to bloom for the first time in a very long time in a different way. And a flower that's blooming, you know, doesn't sit there and compare itself to the next flower or looking at, it's just doing its thing, fighting its way out of the dirt and then not fighting anymore because the sun is just opening it up. And that's what somatic work, breath work, and combining yoga, slowing down is here for us. I'm going to pivot again and because there's something else that brought you, it has directly related, your fiber arts.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a journey into the journey.
Yeah. And what is fiber arts? What is...
so it's a combination, right? It could be macrame, it could be weaving. It's this beautiful, working with different textiles and textures. And I've always been a very creative person. So since when I was a child, just always had my hands in some kind of craft. In my 20s, I was really into soy candles, so I started a business selling them and really did it. I was into mosaics, making these huge mosaic frames and mirrors and all of that, cutting my own glass for it. It's so much fun. Jewelry, making these bangles, whatever it is. So always something. But my son was 2.5. I was pregnant with my daughter, about 6 months. And I gathered a couple of my friends and we went and did a macrame workshop. And as a new-time mom, you can relate to this, or as a first-time mom, I should say. Your world is just blown up, right? In a million beautiful ways and a million challenging ways. And you lose a part of yourself. I don't want to use that word, but a part of you is just somewhere. It's just kind of out in the ether, right? And waiting to come back home. But I felt in that workshop that there was this creative spark and this connection back to my body and a part of myself that had been missing for those 2.5 years as I was just navigating new motherhood, that was really ignited in that workshop. And I dropped into it so quickly and I was like, whoa. And I don't for a second think that there's something not related to the fact that I was building a human in my body at that time, right? That creative force. So I left that workshop. I emailed the woman and was like, where do I get all my stuff? I got to keep doing this. And so through my pregnancy and through, my birth and then having my daughter in a baby carrier and nodding away and all of that through COVID, when then I was home with the kids because I had to leave my job. And I had all this macrame stuff and I was like, let's put it up on Etsy, and then it became a business and I started doing markets. But long way to get to where I'm getting is really, it became, the important part of me was the process of creativity. It's not the tangible piece that comes out of it. It's not, they're beautiful, but really it's the process. And it's another outlet and another way for me to, again, just be connected. It's a very mindful, present practice. So it gets me out of my head and into my body. And so although breath work and doing macrame are completely different ways of connection, that's how I come back to me. So yeah, I started teaching workshops and that's when I really kind of started finding my voice and being able to lead and teach. That was a big step for me, and realizing how much I loved that, how much I loved being in spaces with other women where I could guide them through something. And then breathwork came in, and so here we are now. But yeah, They kind of go hand in hand in a lot of ways to me. And I love mixing breath work with macrame workshops because you can really tap into your creative channel before you get into the flow. And yeah, so it's beautiful.
I've done a few of your workshops and I love them. I absolutely love them. You don't have to be a massive artist. You don't. That's what I loved about it, because I was like, I'm not like hugely. I am. We are all creative.
We are,
but it's just showing up and getting out of your own way.
Yes.
And it's a community. We would laugh as women. We would share, and it's like a little circle of women coming together and creating something. I made things for my daughter or at home, and I love it. So I love that you're sharing all of this, and you still do both.
I do, yeah. I teach macrame workshops still, yeah. Which is so fun. Yeah.
And you're teaching breathwork and having a program.
Yes.
So if some of our guest listeners want to find you, where can they find you? Where can they get access to some of your work?
Sage Breathwork, so sagebreathwork.com or Sage Breathwork on Instagram. And in June, I don't know the exact date, but I'm going to be offering a free 21-day breathwork challenge. So every day, so every day I'll be dropping a little 5 to probably at max 15-minute breathwork session into your email. And you can practice that for 21 days and just see if there's any shifts. Because if you practice this consistently, I can guarantee that your life will feel different in 21 days.
Most definitely.
It'll be different breath patterns. Some will be repeated, but there'll be different kind of meditations with them. And I'm so excited. So yeah, that'll be up on my site soon, but that'll be coming in June.
If you can give our listeners, women, one little tip or a big tip that helped you get to where you are and your calling, what would it be?
So maybe some of you can relate to this. For me, it's listening to the whispers. And what I mean by that is when you can get really quiet with yourself and you can connect. There are these little voices inside our heads, right? And they may not be like clear all the time, but they're little pokes, they're little nudges towards something. You might not know exactly what that is, but it's leading you somewhere. And to just really trust those whispers, right? That's your intuition speaking to you. That's your subconscious speaking to you. And if you can allow yourself this space in whatever capacity you have to just try and more deeply connect for just a moment, those whispers will begin to get louder and you have to listen to them. So follow it. That's my advice.
And you'll birth something amazing, no matter what it is. It will be amazing. Something for you, something you can share.
Yeah.
And it'll be a feeling of something coming back to home.
Yes.
And that's what breathwork is, coming home. Right? I've never put my hand on my belly and my heart as much in my life as I do now.
Yes.
Every day, all the time, I just feel like this is home. I need to be very mindful, aware of being here in this time and space, and how privileged and miraculous it is. So I'm so grateful for Sage for coming in and sharing her journey, sharing all the tips and how we can just live presently. And we hope that you listen to this episode, and I would love for you to like, subscribe, and share Reignite with Reet podcast so that it can reach as many women as possible. There's a message today for somebody, and we hope that it hits and lands on somebody's heart, that they may, reignite something that they felt was missing or outside of themselves. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.